So what is going on, everyone? Fernando Silva here with another video, and if you guys just saw, Apple had their official keynote, their September fall keynote, and they announced a bunch of stuff, right? They announced two new iPads with the iPad mini 6, and then I guess the 9th gen iPad? I don't really know what they're calling it, but a revamped, spec'd up iPad. They released, a bunch of new services, or at least updates to the new services like Fitness Plus and Apple TV. They released 4 new iPhones as well, so the 13 mini all the way to the 13 Pro Max. And then they also released the new Series 7 Apple Watch, which, it was cool, I guess, right? But the number one thing that I wanted to see was the iPad mini, because this is an iPad channel. So that's what this video is going to be about. I want to talk about the specs of the iPad mini, exactly what to expect, and kind of see who it's for, because it's kind of in this weird middle ground where it's finally up to 2021 standards in terms of design and look, but still, I wonder how much work can be done on it, right? But let's find out just a little bit more. So this iPad mini 6, we have to talk about the design first, because that's obviously the first difference that you see with this thing. For about 5 different iterations, so the iPad mini to the iPad mini 5, they kept the look exactly the same, just reiterating on it, creating spec upgrades, replacing the home button with a Touch ID button and things like that. But for the longest time, we had that same forehead, that same big chin, same big bezels, the same classic physical home button that was Touch ID. But now we're getting a brand new form factor, right? It's coming into 2021 with the iPad Pros, with the iPad Air. And to me, this iPad mini is just a shrunken version of that iPad Air 4, right? It's just more compact. It has the same exact footprint as a 7.9-inch iPad mini 5 that we had previously, but now all they did was extend the sides, got rid of the home button, and evened out the actual bezels on the screen. So now, instead of the classic physical home button that we had kind of in the bottom center, now they moved Touch ID to the actual hold button or the lock button, which is exactly what they did with the iPad Air 4. Some other nice things that they changed with this actual iPad mini from a visual and physical standpoint was they went to the Liquid Retina display. So the same display that's on the iPad Air 4 and then those previous generation iPad Pros like the 2018 iPad Pro, that Liquid Retina, that beautiful Liquid Retina display, which has been amazing, is now coming to that iPad mini, which is a beautiful thing to see. Like, I'm always welcoming screen and visual upgrades. Other things that we saw was they replaced the Lightning port with a USB-C port, which is also a very welcome upgrade. So now we have the ability to use USB-C hubs, different USB-C accessories. Maybe you can connect it to a USB-C hub and use a secondary monitor, even though I don't want to get into the secondary monitor support for iPadOS 15. That's for another day, but now it allows you to just plug in a DSLR directly to your iPad mini and start importing files for you to get some work done if need be. They also took that same camera system from that iPad Air 4, so that 12 megapixel sensor, they threw that on the back of the iPad mini 6, as well as a nice little LED flash. So if you do want to do some photography, and it might not look as weird with the iPad mini 6, because I know people with their iPad Pros, with their 12.9-inch iPad Pros trying to take pictures like this, it looks kind of wonky, it looks a little bit weird, but with the iPad mini 6, it's a lot smaller, it's a lot easier to handle, and it might not look as weird using that as a camera. So that's nice. And they also upgraded the selfie camera, and I think Apple made a big push into making sure that the selfie cameras are actually up to par and better for use, because we're in this virtual world now where video chatting, Zoom calling, all that is the norm, where now they need to have that 12 megapixel camera and have kind of the best sort of situation with a selfie camera. And they added center stage, and now we have a 120-degree viewing field, so that a much wider angle. And center stage is very cool. Like I said, it's been trickled down from the iPad Pro down to the iPad mini, and even the new generation iPad that came out, the $329 model, that also has center stage, which is great to have. Some other things that changed in here, so the SoC they used, I don't think they announced it on stage, but we did find out that they have the new A15 Bionic chip in there. So we're getting a 40% faster CPU and 80% faster GPU, which I think is gonna be great for gaming. Like, I can see this iPad mini being an awesome kind of maybe Switch competitor if Apple Arcade, steps up their game, or if the App Store includes some real titles, some AAA titles in the App Store. Because at this form factor, with this portability, this type of battery life, I don't know, it could be tough to compete with from a video game kind of mobile device, which I think is gonna be very, very cool moving forward. But another nice addition is the ability to now use the Apple Pencil 2, so you no longer have to charge with an Apple Pencil 1 in that really weird way that the iPad mini was doing before the iPad mini 5. So now the iPad mini 6 charges the Apple Pencil 2 magnetically, and it works exactly the same as it does on the iPad Air and the iPad Pros. We also get new stereo speakers. It's not a quad speaker system like the Pros, it's more so like the iPad Air where you get the double-sided dual speaker system, but at least it's stereo now. And they are claiming all-day battery life. Now, I don't know if that means you're just watching videos on Safari all day, or if you're really getting some work done, it'll give you all-day battery life. We did order one, so I'll be getting it next Friday, and we'll be doing a lot of tests to see exactly who this iPad mini 6 is for, because it's now in this weird middle ground where like, do you need something that's a little bit bigger than your iPhone, but not as big as like an 11-inch iPad Pro? You know, who knows what situation you're gonna be in where you need a smaller iPad like this one. One thing that I did notice throughout the presentation is that they didn't announce any first-party keyboard accessories, right? They announced that slim folio case without the keyboard, which is nice, but I also didn't notice any pin connectors on the back of the iPad. I don't know if you guys did or not, but I'm looking at images and I'm not seeing any pin connectors, which I guess is fine because I don't know, it might be a cramped typing style in terms of having such a small device, because I do believe that the regular iPad is actually a bigger form factor and feels a little bit more computer-like than the iPad mini. That's why they have the 3 pin connectors and the first gen like slim folio keyboard case. But the iPad mini 6 does not have 3 pin connectors, so if you do have Bluetooth accessories or you want a keyboard accessory, it's most likely gonna have to be a Bluetooth connection. Some other things that we noticed throughout the actual keynote is that they actually increased the peak nit brightness to 500 nits. Again, very similar to the iPad Air 4 with that nice liquid retina display. Beautiful, welcoming kind of addition so we can be able to use this thing in direct sunlight. And then lastly, we gotta talk about the price. So the entry model is 64 gigs, and then you have a 256 gigabyte model. It starts at, I believe, $499, and then $599 for the 256 gigabyte model. I went with the 256 because I figured if I'm gonna keep it, I wanna make sure that I have enough space to actually go through my day-to-day with it. I kinda wanna know who this is for. Like, I definitely wanna hear from you guys in the comments below, like, who's gonna get it? Why would you get it? Like, what situation are you in where you would need a smaller device like this? I can see this being a great kind of like purse iPad, you know, throw it in a small bag, maybe in one of those crossbody bags or something like that. From all the images and videos that Apple is showing, it fits in the back pocket of a pair of jeans. So if that's what you want to do with your iPad mini, by all means, go for it. But again, like for me personally, if the App Store and Apple Arcade kind of stepped up their game, this would be a perfect e-reader, you know, a great electronic reader to be able to read your books in a small form factor, but bigger than your actual iPhone, where you're kind of straining to get through the pages. But then also as a portable gaming device. Like, I'm waiting for somebody to create, you know, a game controller that can hold up the iPad mini, because it's gonna be relatively small. Like, it should fit in your hand with you extending all your fingers. And I think it's just gonna give like the Switch a big run for its money in terms of mobile gaming. Like, they could take a big market share, because $500 with 64 gigabytes of storage in order to get gaming done, I don't know. I know that Switch is only $300, but for $500 you can get an iPad that can do all the gaming and then some, right? Which is super, super nice to have. But that's pretty much it, everybody. I kind of just wanted to run down the spec list, exactly what to expect with this iPad mini 6. We're gonna get in the studio in the next 9 or 10 days, so hopefully I already put the order in, we're good to go. And I actually traded in a 2018 11-inch iPad Pro for it. Apple gave me $415 for it, so definitely go through the trade-in programs that Apple's offering, because they do give you a decent amount of money. And going through Apple is just the most efficient way to trade in. Like, you can probably get a little bit more money on the secondary market with Swappa and things like that, but I'd rather just do it all through Apple, put it all on the Apple Card, and figure it out that way. It's just a lot more efficient, easy to get through, and like I said, it's just easier to get it in hand all directly from Apple. So again, overall, the most exciting part of the keynote to me was the iPad mini 6, because with the iPhone 13 Pro Max, I kind of knew what to expect. It was just going to be bigger, better, you know, faster than the older iPhones, especially better than the iPhone 11 Pro Max that I have. I'll probably end up picking one of those up just because, you know, those new cameras do look pretty nice, you know, especially with all the ProRes and being able to actually go through different focus modes and autofocus zones and things like that. So I'm excited for that 13 Pro Max, but the iPad mini 6 was the one thing that I kind of wanted to see happen. And now the last one, the leftover iPad, is that OG kind of 8th or 9th generation iPad that Apple's gonna probably revamp in the next year or two to kind of bring us to 2021 and 2022. But that's gonna do it for this video. Like I said, leave a comment below. Is this something that you want? Is it more of a novelty item? Is it something that you kind of give to your kids? Is it an expensive toy? Like, what is this iPad mini for? Apple had some decent use cases, but at the same time, for another $100, you can get the iPad Air 4 with a bigger screen, but still small enough where like you can put it in a small bag and move around easily, and it's still portable enough. Like, you need to have a specific use case where you need this type of portability. Like gaming, right? Exactly like gaming. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment down below, like I said. And until next time, peace.